On the downside, the Arizona Diamondbacks just got swept by the Houston Astros. But on the good side, I'm just looking up flights to Cancun, and you can get there right now from Phoenix on a direct flight for $351. We're talking about this and so much more now that the Diamondbacks season is over in 30 seconds. Don't you go anywhere. Welcome in to another edition of the PHNX Diamondback Show, and this show is aptly named Astro World based on the fact that this has also been a complete disaster for the Arizona Diamondbacks. My name is Derek Montia, occasionally known as your mayor of PHNX. We got our guy Damon Dog on the ones and twos here today, and he's so fed up with this team that he's about to get on an airplane and travel as far away from them as he possibly can. Of course, this show is brought to you by our friends at Bet365 and Game Time. Make sure to go download that Bet365 app. It does make betting on sports more fun. Use our code of PHNX365 to get yourself some bonus bets. Over at Game Time, use our code of PHNX. When you sign up, you'll get yourself $20 off your first ticket purchase, and I would suggest buying tickets to anything other than an Arizona Diamondbacks game, especially with the way they played at home in this series against the Houston Astros. Diamondbacks lose this game by a score of 4-3, and I really do feel like you said it yesterday, Damon. Like yesterday's game was like the encompassment or embodiment is what you used, embodiment of the season. You could say much that about this game again, because the Diamondbacks once again managed to make a loss even more heartbreaking by putting forth a good effort, tying a baseball game, a game where they probably should have taken the lead if they were once again a bit more aggressive on the base path, aggressive with their base running. Sean Larkin not putting up stop signs and instead letting guys go, and maybe the Diamondbacks would have won this one. Instead, they lose it by a score of 4-3. They get swept at home by the Astros, and they now sit at 50-53 this season. On the bright side, I guess, if you want to have a bright side here, the Diamondbacks had a record of 53-50 at this same time last year, and they went on to win 89 games. So it's not impossible that they can have success from this point going on. But last year's team was very, very good at this point. They went on a run, and they just so happened to be, for a stretch, one of the best teams in baseball. We're not getting that out of this year's team. Instead, what we're getting out of this year's team is fresh off of sweeping the Cardinals, which now doesn't look like as much of an achievement based on the way that the Rockies have taken that series from the Cardinals. The Diamondbacks here go up against an Astros team that is very injured as well, missing so many of their stars as well. Very, very similar to the situation the Diamondbacks are in. However, their record is much better than the Diamondbacks, and in this series, they found a way to win with those pieces, those young prospect pieces. And I know that if Torey and this team would have lost to the regular Astros squad, it would have been a little less hurtful than this particular loss, because again, this was a team that wasn't very good, not very good at batting averages. You got beat by Bryce Matthews in his 5th, 6th, and 7th games in his career. I believe he has 6 RBIs total this season, and 5 of them are against the Diamondbacks. And he did it to them once again today. And he can't stop doing it to this team. But this was another night where Sean Larkin playing it conservative at third base cost this team a game. And there's no way to know if that's true or not. That is speculation, I guess you could say. That is just my opinion and many of yours, but we don't know what the alternate reality looks like if the Diamondbacks are aggressive and are putting up those go signs. Maybe, in fact, last night, Josh Naylor does get thrown out at home base if they tried to send him. Today, another similar situation. The Diamondbacks had a situation in the 8th inning where they finally broke through on a day where their offense was not generating anything. I mean, anything. They're like, can we stop keeping the bats next to the churro dogs or wherever We keep cold items at Chase Field, and I know it's not very cold there anywhere. Trust me, I've been there. I was just there earlier seeking some sort of air conditioning. Shout out to Jack Summers once again for letting me use his tiny fan, because without it, I'm sure I would have passed out due to heat and disappointment from what I saw in this game. But Ketel Marte did make us think early on that the offensive woes maybe had switched around a little bit with his solo home run in the first inning. It was his 20th home run of the year. It went 420 feet. It's pretty nice, Damon. It's not as nice as 69 feet, but it's pretty nice. And it was 690 feet. Yeah, no, that's definitely good. But 420 feet off the bat, 106.5 miles per hour exit velo. But the Diamondbacks were held pretty much to that for the majority of the game. They weren't able to muster up what it felt like 2 hits together at any point until they got into that 8th inning. And then once the Diamondbacks got into that 8th inning, it felt like that was their moment to finally break through. Geraldo Perdomo led off with a double, his 22nd double of the season. Ketel Marte singled, and they had runners on the corners with no outs. Corbin Carroll then doubled, and this is where Corbin Carroll probably should have tripled. Corbin Carroll hits a double. Perdomo does score, but they hold Ketel Marte up at third. It did very much feel like in that moment Corbin Carroll was going to get what I believe would have been his 14th triple of the year, which would have tied a career high. And it's June 23rd. It would have tied his career high of 14 triples, I believe, from last year, and given Corbin a chance to not only obviously tie the game up with that second RBI, but have that triple. Instead, Larkin holds up Perdomo there Ketel Marte at third. I think do we have the video of Torey talking about holding Ketel up? This is the reason why Torey gave us that they were cautious.
I didn't clip that one.
Oh, okay. No worries. I didn't know if you did or not. We've kind of been running fast here a little bit, but Torey did say after the game that they held Ketel up on purpose because it just sounded like they're concerned about Ketel not being 100%.
He basically said you got to be careful with Ketel.
Right. And again, I do agree with that. However, we've seen Ketel running pretty fast. We've seen Ketel doing some things. He does also, I noticed, it was brought to my attention, he runs a little bit like Jack Sparrow at times when he's just getting out onto the field. Not when he's running full sprint, not when he's trying to actually get to first, but there are some funny things about that. But I don't know, man. I mean, Damon, I know you probably had a chance to see it really quickly. You were busy doing the Wildcat stuff, but another night where the Diamondbacks are conservative here, and another night where you don't get that run in. And I mean, they did tie the game, but they could have had the lead.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely felt like another just missed opportunity game. This whole series really felt like you could have won each and every one of these games, and that's pretty tough to take when your season's on the brink, right? Because you just as easily could have swept as gotten swept, but that's the making of a bad baseball team that's going to sell off their players because they find ways to lose baseball games. I don't agree with Killimus Reximus often, but I couldn't agree with him more when it comes to this, Damon. He says, your season is on the line. Who the F cares? And that is the reason to be aggressive both last night and tonight. The reason. Forget it. Who cares? At this point, you really, even if you win games, are going to have a hard time convincing the front office to not part ways with those players on expiring contracts, right? Maybe if you go on a crazy winning streak, maybe that is enough to preserve every single one of those guys. But you could argue that even if the Diamondbacks do go on a winning streak like that not taking offers and not potentially trading at least one of those players that have expiring contracts at the end of this season would be detrimental to the franchise. I know personally, because I've heard him say it more than once, that Mike Hazen's biggest regret as a GM is trading Paul Goldschmidt. He's talked in the past about how much he regretted it. He talked about what it did to the clubhouse. He's told several stories about why he regretted trading Goldschmidt. That very much could be what happens if the Diamondbacks do end up trading someone like Eugenio Suarez. However, I don't think even the biggest Diamondbacks fan right now can argue that it's not that it's a terrible idea to do so, considering that you could get back pieces to help make this team not only better in 2026 and beyond, but potentially
even helped this team win this season. When you look at the starting performances from the starters, the pitchers from the Diamondbacks in this series, Zach Gallen by far had the worst outing. Eduardo Rodriguez gave you a scoreless outing. Brandon Pfaadt today gave you 2 earned run, one that really wasn't on him, but still gave you a chance to win. And that's what's important from what Erod and Pfaadt did. Meanwhile, Zach Gallen gives up 6 earned, and again has been one of those guys that just, right when you think he's putting it together, he has an outing like that. Much like this team, right when you think the Diamondbacks are putting it together, they have a series like this where they get swept by the Astros, and you can't help but feel like all is lost after seeing what we saw today. And again, the offense wasn't great today. The Diamondbacks did not put up a lot of runs, but once they got into that 8th inning, they had a chance. And again, you have runners now on second and third there once Corbin Carroll doubles. And then you just have these terrible at-bats from Lourdes Gurriel, who grounds out. Gino walks. Josh Naylor is the big hero that ties the game up with his RBI single. And I turned to Alex Weiner in the press box and told him it was going to be Josh Naylor, and I knew it was going to be on a single because Josh Naylor understands situational hitting, and he doesn't necessarily need to swing for the fences in order to get the job done. I feel like at times Geraldo Perdomo and Josh Naylor are the only 2 batters in this lineup that truly understand that, because Ketel Marte, for the great day that he had, is still trying to hit at times, as many of you saw, 4 home runs in 1 at bat, and that's not necessarily a possibility. But defensively, this team wasn't great today. Offensively, like I said, they're in the 8th inning. They just had some crummy at bats. Randall Grichuk does the one thing you can't do there with 1 out, hits into the double play and ends that inning and kills the rally there for the Diamondbacks in the 8th. And then they got something going finally in the 9th, once again behind Geraldo Perdomo's single with 2 outs. But Ketel Marte ends the game on a strikeout, and it is just an unfortunate day all around.
Strikeout that, may I mention, was not a strike.
It wasn't a strike.
It was about 3 inches off the plate.
You can't make that call. You can't make that bad call. I mean, I don't want to act like that's what cost
the call yesterday was detrimental as well, man.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things where it feels like every little thing is going against us, whether it's the Diamondbacks shooting themselves in the foot, the umps, iffy calls going against the Dbacks. Like, it's just awful, man.
Yeah.
This is the season from hell. And I thought last season was.
And it's this Astros team, right? Once again, somebody brought it up just recently in their chat, but it was talked about at the field today where the Astros tried and almost successfully ended the 2023 season for the Diamondbacks. And you could say that they have once again ended their season here in 2025. But hey, those 2023 backs, they did something, which once again, I think is why our view is so skewed on this whole situation, because no matter how bad or good this team is, there's going to be a large percentage of this fan base, and I'm probably part of that that percentage, Damon too, that feels like, hey, just get us in and anything can happen. No matter how crummy you've played over a 162-game season, it doesn't matter. That 2023 season, it's very hard to remember that the Diamondbacks limped their way in like they did, but they needed the help of other teams to do so. They got that. And once they were in the playoffs, they somehow couldn't be denied until they made it to the World Series. So Piece of Yoshi's right, though. Nothing bad happens to the Astros. And that, again, is what was happening in this game. It feels like the Astros just couldn't have everything was going their way. Absolutely everything was going the Astros' way. And again, the Astros, as far as game planning is concerned, came in here against the Arizona Diamondbacks and had a terrific game plan. The Astros came in here and threw all the left-handed pitching at the Diamondbacks, who are just terrible at hitting left-handed pitching, and it worked. They used left-handed starters, they used left-handed relievers, and the Diamondbacks had no answer for it. They also had no answer for them bunting their way onto base. And of course, Christian Walker is the guy that gets the game-winning hit for the Astros, right? Because that's how this had to end. It either had to be him or Bryce Matthews, quite frankly. So I'm actually surprised it wasn't Bryce Matthews. But we have a little bit more from Torey here post-game, and this is what Torey had to say about this team's struggles against left-handed pitching.
It's not a mystery. The Astros came down here and loaded up against us with left-handed pitching. They had opportunities to make some, I think, changes and throw a righty against us in one of these games, but they didn't. And it's clear that they felt very strongly about our inability to attack left-handed pitchers as good as right-handed pitching. I think sometimes guys get too big, try to do too much. and maybe lose a little bit of the all-field approach, seeing pitches, driving pitch counts, and just going up there and getting outside of the approach. Classic example of that for me was the 7th inning today. We got to have a better 7th inning. Pitchers going deep into the game. You're going to be seeing them 3 times, and we just went up there and we're free swinging through situations where I felt like we could have been a little bit more patient. So patience, plate discipline, working counts like we always do.
Is there a specific reason why that might be so different against left and right, though?
I don't know that exact reason why. Maybe some of our left-handed everyday players might be a little bit more productive against right-handed pitchers. I don't know what that looks like. I know that's what the statistics will tell me, but at times that changes based on the approach of our left-handed hitters against left-handed pitchers. But I think overall we have a very competitive lineup against left-handed pitching. We just got to be more consistent with our plate discipline and driving up pitch counts.
Well, it's not just the plate discipline. I mean, the offense, again, was pretty bad. It was bad overall in the series. The Diamondbacks only scored 7 runs over these 3 games, and that's a team that was putting up 7 runs, it felt like, every night against the St. Louis Cardinals. But this game also featured some pretty awful defense from the Diamondbacks. Awful defense in the 6th inning that led to the end of Brandon Pfaadt's night with runners on the corners. Perdomo made a fielding error that allowed goddamn Bryce Matthews to get on base. It makes me sick. It really does. Christian Walker then scored the Astros' first run. Once Pfaadt was gone from the game, Andrew Saalfrank came in and he threw a wild pitch while pitching against old friend Cooper Hummel. That allowed Yanier Diaz to score, and that gave Houston the lead. And then in the 8th inning, the Astros were just able to bunt their way onto base at will, and it was like unlike anything I've ever seen. The only thing I remember in recent history this being like was when runners last year knew that they could do whatever they wanted with Adrian Del Castillo behind the plate, and he wasn't able to do anything about it. This was pretty egregious. It felt like there was nothing Kevin Ginkel could do or Josh Naylor could do. You had kind of a combination of bad things there, with Ginkel kind of like throwing a little bit of a soft throw. You also had Josh Naylor coming off the bag, and I don't know. I mean, that those are the little things that the Diamondbacks usually do to catch the other team off guard and make them make mistakes. They're not doing that. That's something that they could have done, trying to advance the base runners in both last night's game and today's game, to just put that pressure on the defense and make them make a great play in order to get you out. The Astros are a very good defensive team. We saw that with Yanier Diaz over there at first base. You thought it was Christian Walker today making some great grabs, but the Diamondbacks did not have that solid defense, and in this series, they haven't really had that, and it seemed to be the difference maker for the Dbacks when it came to playing a Houston Astros team that is missing a lot of key players, but still played very, very high-quality baseball, fundamentally sound baseball in every way, shape, and form. They did it on with their bullpen, which was incredible. Starting pitching ERA is incredible. And again, they weren't able to put up a lot of offense against the Diamondbacks. That's the one thing that the Dbacks did well in this series, holding Houston to a minimal amount of runs scored. But again, that still was not enough for them, and they get swept by the Astros, and again, makes me sick. Notable performers today. Geraldo Perdomo probably should be our king snake. This man was 4 for 4 in the 9-hole. He scored a run. But of course, we got to give it to our guy, Ketel Marte. Ketel Marte got things going tonight for the Diamondbacks with that big home run. Marte was 2 for 4, and he is our king snake in today's game. So don't know. Wait, do we throw the king snake up? Fine.
Almost don't want to.
Yeah, no, I get it. I mean,
king snakes after losses just feel so gross.
We really should just go back to giving it to nobody, especially after a series like this. Probably nobody deserves it, but I don't know. Yeah, Sean says nobody deserves king snake. I don't know. You try to go hit a home run, Sean. I'd like to see you do it. I'm just saying. Sorry, I'm lashing out. I'm just upset.
My guy. My guy, Sean, he didn't deserve that at all.
I know. I'm sorry, Sean. But Torey gave his thoughts on this game, and he was definitely frustrated after this loss. This is what Torey had to say.
Yeah, we gotta be better. That's all I can really say. A team that comes in from Seattle, their bullpen's a little bit beat up, and they relied heavily on their pitching and defense. And we allowed starters to work deep into games. We got away from our approach. We didn't link up some at bats. It was the reason why this happened this series was a reoccurring theme that we didn't do the things consistently the same way we were doing them against Cardinals. A young team full of young prospect-ish type of players with a lot of injuries. I mean, they came in here and played a very aggressive baseball game, and we just took too long to figure out that piece of the puzzle. We got to be better. Specifically today, the ninth inning was a perfect example of what I'm talking about. A couple bunts. I feel like if we execute and do things the right way, they may not have anybody on base. We didn't get that done. So this is a very frustrating time, and I watched it for a couple of days where I feel like we didn't play our game and link up those at-bats and drive starting pitchers out of the game and get into a portion of their bullpen maybe that they weren't comfortable using, whether it's not their positive role guys or because they couldn't use certain guys because their bullpen was taxed from their series in Seattle. So it's just it's a grinding time right now, and we got to find a way to figure this out quickly. I thought Brandon Pfaadt was efficient for his 5+ innings. He had some really good moments, maybe just mislocated a couple balls in that 6th inning, and we started maneuvering the bullpen. And overall, I thought he deserved to go back out there in the 6th inning and pitch a little bit deeper into the game. And unfortunately, we couldn't get it done for him. Perdomo with 4 hits, Marte with a home run and 2 hits. You could see when we do link up what we did in the 8th inning. We create innings and build innings, and we're able to go out there and put pressure on the pitcher. We just didn't do that enough throughout the course of the series to win some games.
Well, the Diamondbacks don't have much time, and they also have a very, very tough road trip ahead. So it's hard to be positive and hard to think that the team is going to somehow turn things around against the Pittsburgh Pirates team that just swept the Detroit Tigers, who is or was or did have the best record in baseball. But we're going to talk more about Brandon Pfaadt's day and this bullpen on the other side of this break. We also have more from Gino in the clubhouse and why Gino, at least for now, isn't going anywhere. Don't you go anywhere. You're watching the PHNX Diamondbacks show. Well, our friends at Branded Bills are known for making some incredible hats, including having partnerships with U of A and ASU as part of their campus collection and making some incredible Suns hats that I still need to get my hands on. They have that part of a giveaway earlier this season. And of course, if you are looking for some hats to help your brand stand apart from the crowd, look to Branded Bills to help you out. They can get you started, and their dedicated team will help you create the exact custom apparel you need. Whether it's snapbacks, fitted hats, truckers, beanies, or t-shirts, whatever you need, Branded Bills has you covered with performance and style. They are a local company from right here in Mesa, Arizona, and trust me when I say they make some of the most comfortable, breathable, stretchy hats that you've ever worn. So give them a try. Of course, right now you can go to brandedbills.com and use our code of BBPHNX for 15% off your first order. That's BBPHNX for 15% off your first order. Well, July is normally a time to celebrate the great country of America that we live in. However, it's very hot here in Arizona. It's hard to think about being patriotic when you are sweating and you are watching dollars go out of your pocket due to keeping your home cooled. 50% of your, over 50% of your home energy costs come from cooling your home during the summer, and it is especially worse here in Arizona. So get yourself a smart thermostat. And if you don't have a smart thermostat yet, it is the thing to add to your home. You can set schedules so that way that you know when your temperature is going to be exactly what you want it to be, whether it's night or day. You can also change your home temperature when you're not home from your smartphone or device. And again, for every 1 degree you raise your thermostat, you could save up to 2 to 3% on your cooling costs. So get yourself a smart thermostat right now. APS customers may be eligible for smart thermostats as low as $0 when you enroll in the APS Cool Rewards program. If you already have a smart thermostat, see if it's eligible to enroll in Cool Rewards, plus free installations available at marketplace.aps.com. Must be an APS customer and pay shipping and taxes. Other restrictions do apply. Go to marketplace.aps.com for more information. Well, it was another day, Damon, where a starter gave the Arizona Diamondbacks a very nice outing, gave them an opportunity to win, but the offense didn't really support them. Once again, Brandon Pfaadt here did not get the run support he needed today, but he was very good, and Pfaadt went out there today. I think the game plan for Pfaadt at times is solid. He does have a nice mix of pitches that he throws, and we see him consistently throw 5 to 6 pitches. However, whatever his pitches that he is kind of go-to pitch from game to game seems to change. Tonight, he relied heavily on the sinker, which he threw for 46% of his outing, and he got 20 swings and 4 whiffs on it. He got 3 whiffs on his sweeper and 3 whiffs on his cutter. And his sweeper, he threw 22% of the time, cutter 20% of the time. So a nice mix of off-speed pitches there to complement his cutter, essentially, which is the fastball that he threw in this one. Maxed out at 92.3 miles per hour. His sinker maxed out at 94.6. So there is definitely a lot to like about Brandon Pfaadt's outing today, but unfortunately, like I said, didn't get the run support and really just didn't have, again, a perfect game, which is what was needed apparently against the Houston Astros. But Pfaadt really did like what his cutter was doing tonight. This is what Pfaadt had to say about throwing his cutter.
We threw it quite a bit. Seemed to work, especially to the righties. So we threw a few more to the righties today than usual. Instead of there were only 3 lefties in there, so we used it a little bit more to righties today, and kind of more up. We were using it a little different, and it seemed to work.
Brandon's had an up and down season, but he's lowered his ERA to 4.76, which is impressive considering. Once again, I've talked about it, but factoring in that quote unquote yes hitter that he had, it's hard for him to bring down that ERA. But much like Merrill Kelly, if you take out 1 or 2 starts from Brandon Pfaadt this year, I think it would drastically change his ERA and just kind of drastically change the way that his season has kind of been viewed up to this point. When you look back at his last 5 games prior to this one, you had him giving up 4 earned runs, 2 earned runs, 4 earned runs, 2 earned runs, 0 earned runs. Actually, that was backwards. 0 earned runs his last outing, 2 earned runs against the Padres, 4 earned runs against the Giants, 2 earned runs against the Marlins. So, again, Brandon's been consistent, and even in that, I guess that Giants one is the one clunker there, but still gave the team a chance to win, going out there and giving them 6 innings strong. So, I don't know. I mean, at this point, it's very hard to stay positive. It's hard to not dwell too much on the way that this game went and this series went. But it's a sweep, and it's hard not to view it as, kind of, at least in our eyes as fans and our eyes here, not view it as the nail in the coffin. It was hard not to view last night's loss as the official nail in the coffin. But this is what Brandon Pfaadt had to say about getting swept by the Astros.
Yeah, that's not what we were expecting. We swept the Cardinals, and we felt like we were in a good spot to take off, and then we got swept. So I think these first few games for the road trip are pretty important. I don't think we're out of it, and I think we have, like I said before, we have the guys in here to turn this thing around. So that's what we're going to do when we get to Pittsburgh and see where we're at after that.
Do these 6 games just sort of feel like a nice bang for the buck this year?
Yeah, I think we put ourselves in a lot of positions to win the last 3 games, and it just didn't go in our favor. And I think we haven't lost hope. We haven't lost that drive to keep going, and I think this road trip will be a big testament to that.
Well, Brandon gave him 5 1/3 innings pitched tonight. He did allow 5 hits. He gave up 2 earned runs, 2 walks, and 5 Ks. He does get, I don't believe he gets charged with the loss because the Diamondbacks did tie it, but it's still unfortunate considering when he's talking about the Diamondbacks putting themselves in a position to win in all 3 of these games. I do think he's meaning, the starting pitching. And even in Gallen's outing, right? Gallen was good up to a point until might have been left in there, too long in his outing. And you could tell Torey was being a little bit more cautious, not necessarily running up the pitch count on Pfaadt or Eduardo Rodriguez in their outings, despite how much Erod wanted to stay in there. But Brandon Pfaadt did get 5 strikeouts tonight. So let's go ahead and fire up our Circle K strikeout meter. There we go. We got 5 coming in. Bullpen, again, another night where the bullpen didn't hold, didn't give the Diamondbacks really a chance to win. It wasn't a complete disaster, but you probably could say it was, especially with the way that the Astros were able to just bunt their way on the base at will. Andrew Saalfrank once again threw a wild pitch to his first batter and Cooper Hummel that allowed the go-ahead run to score. In the 6th inning, he gave them an inning pitched, 1 walk allowed. Richards gave him an inning and 2/3 pitched, giving up 3 hits. He gave up 1 earned run and 1 strikeout. And then Ginkel, of course, in his 1 inning, giving up 3 hits, 1 earned run, and the strikeout. So, this game was not a well-played game by the Diamondbacks, yet somehow there in the 8th inning, they found a way to put themselves in a position to possibly take the lead. They weren't aggressive enough to do that, and then the bullpen gives the game away. I mean, again, it's another game that's a perfect example of the way that this season has gone. And this series, in juxtaposition to the series against the Cardinals, is how this year has gone for this team, right? Where you get excited that they're able to sweep a team, especially a team that's ahead of them in the wild card race. You get, you start feeling that hope. You start thinking that they're turning things around, and they, in fact, aren't. So this though is probably one of the most the most damning, I think, series of the year. Not only is there no more time to sit there and say that there's time for them to make up ground, but it's also one of the series that, their back couldn't be against the wall anymore. After losing the first game, their back was very much against the wall in game 2. And by God, you cannot get swept in game 3. And that is something that this team allowed to happen. They finally showed a little fight late, but it wasn't enough. It was too little too late. So Sean says it back. We're so back 3 days later in SpongeBob narrator voice. We're so cooked. And that's how this whole season has felt, right? I mean, that has been it, right? When you get hope, they take it away from you, or they give you reason to abandon it.
They pull the chair.
They do pull the chair on you. They do pull the chair. And again, when people, I know there's more, I always pick on Killer Rex about his obsession with firing Torey Lovullo, but I know there's more of you out there. And I know that the narrative that's being told right here in this chat is that because of his relationship with Mike Hazen, Torey Lovullo won't be fired. I, 1, don't know if that's entirely the case. And 2, I will say that if Torey Lovullo isn't fired, the only reason why would be the fact that the amount of injuries is the reason that they clear him and don't blame the way that this season has gone on him. However, like I just said, they just played a Houston Astros team that is missing pretty much all of their stars. And Christian Walker's had a terrible season, and he's been injured for most of the year. And yet they still have found a way to put it together, be first in their division, and I believe get their 60th win in this game. So again, there are excuses at times, and especially when you lose some of your best starting pitchers and your best relievers. That's absolutely an excuse, but I don't know, based on the way that this season has gone, if that's going to be enough to necessarily save Torey's job. Piece of Yoshi's talking about dyeing my beard regardless. I might do it just to pop Gino. I don't know. Gino knows about the teal beard bet, and he's all in on it. Maybe he found out about it, and that's why he stopped hitting home runs. I don't know. I can't really. I can't really speak to it, but maybe he's washed because he didn't hit a home run today, right? Where are you, Gino? Where was the home runs today? I kid, but today was emotional, right? We saw, if you watched the broadcast or if you had a chance to be at Chase Field, you might have seen Eugenio Suarez standing on the top step there of the dugout after the loss, kind of looking angry and maybe looking a little bit reflective. Maybe one or the other. We tried to get a little bit more from Gino after the game in regards to how he was feeling, because obviously, as many of you know, as I've talked about last night, this could have been Eugenio Suarez's last game at Chase Field. And it might be a little bit, I don't know. I got emotional. I wanted to tell him goodbye. And it's just a weird thing to possibly tell someone goodbye, but not know if you have to tell them goodbye, right? Like, I just wanted to give him a, thank you. While Gino's been here, he has easily been one of my favorite players. And in fact, when you talk about this whole trade deadline, deep down inside, my personal hope is that he's not one of the guys that the Diamondbacks move. I mean, it is kind of crazy in the grand scheme of things for a team that is still hovering around 500 and isn't completely out of the playoff race to trade away one of the best offensive players in all of baseball. However, it very well could be what happens, and today could have been Gino's last home game at Chase. This is what Gino had to say. I think first we have Gino talking about that he was actually a little bit more angry about the way they lost rather than being reflective and I can't speak. I'm not even going to speak. I'm not going to try to say a word. This is what he had to say.
If you stayed on the field a little bit long after the game on the rail, just kind of soaking
Oh,
it
you
in.
see that?
I was just,
Yeah, I was
Your thoughts?
obviously I was a little bit pissed because I think we got it. We should have won that game. But it is what it is. I think we gotta take our day off tomorrow and have a good series in Pittsburgh. It's a lot of things right now. It's going on in my mind. I don't know what's gonna happen next week, but my heart's still here. I'm still here. I'm part of this team, and I care about my off day tomorrow, and then do my best in Pittsburgh Friday, start Friday, try to win games.
You don't have any idea how hard it was to keep me from hugging him right then in that moment. I just wanted to hug him and tell him everything was going to be okay and thank him for everything he's done for this team. But the trade rumors are loud. And, it was asked today of Torey about, how do these guys avoid it? How do they block out the noise? You might not be on social media, but it's hard to not have family members and other people still talking to you about this, even teammates perhaps bringing it up to you. So it's not easy for Gino. And again, he expressed after the game how much Arizona and the Diamondbacks have meant to him, how much they've meant to his career, and how much he's not ready to start talking about goodbyes.
I don't want to talk to that about that right now because there's nothing happened yet, and obviously this thing had a part of my heart right here, and like I say, I feel like I'm home. This team has been a lot to me, and all the last 2 years being in my career changed everything here in Arizona. I am who I am right now because last 2 years being great, and this is it's a lot about this team. You know what I mean? And like I say, I don't want to think about that now because it's nothing happened yet. I just want to wait the time, and like I say, we got to fly today to Pittsburgh. I'm gonna enjoy my off day tomorrow and see what happens Friday. So I go day by day, and if something happens, let's wait for it. Like I say, I don't want to think about it. I don't want to make anything change. It is what it is, and I just want to think about Friday.
I don't have words. I don't have words after watching that, Damon. I recorded that, and I it wasn't nearly as sad in watching it in real life as it is watching it back right there. Gino's such a great dude. He really is. And I mean, you see it in the clubhouse. You see the way his teammates interact with him. You see just everything about him. The mantra "good vibes only" could not be more of what Eugenio Suarez is all about. And again, there's so many people here in the chat talking about rooting for Gino after he is no longer a part of this Diamondbacks team. I very much love Piece of Yoshi's notion, or I believe it was Piece of Yoshi. Somebody said it in the chat that would love to see him get traded back to Seattle so that he can be back with his friends there. And yeah, I think that one gets him far away from us so that we don't have to worry about having him hurt us. And it would make Shane very happy. But also we would fleece Jerry DePoto and he would give us Andre Munoz or whoever we want. He would literally give us whoever we want. So there's that. But also Gino is one of those guys that it's just hard not to love him. And there's a lot of that. There's a lot of that with guys like him and Ketel Marte and Corbin Carroll. I mean, there is nobody more lovable than Blaze Alexander. That guy is one of the most lovable people. So the Diamondbacks are a team comprised of that. And I do think that there is life beyond the trade deadline. It's something I brought up last night, and it's something that I still feel strongly in. I think that if there was a team that could replicate, as we've talked about, what the Tigers did last year and what a few other teams have done, which is actually make some trades. And that's the funny thing about it is Major League Baseball has become so kind of bad about this trade deadline thing that it is only viewed as buyers and sellers, right? In other sports, when trades are made, it's not like one team's always getting the good thing and the other team's getting the short end of the stick, right? It's usually like a trade that is beneficial for both teams. It can make both teams better. That is a trade I could see the Diamondbacks making with these guys that have expiring contracts. And again, it's you have to be savvy about it in order to set this team up for success in the first half of 2026. Lord knows what happens in free agency and when Corbin Burns is going to come back, when Justin Martinez is going to return, when we're going to get so many of these guys that are gone due to Tommy John surgery. But the Diamondbacks are going to have, some money off the books. They're going to be able to go out and improve this team in free agency. But I don't know if that's enough. And I think that, again, it would be fairly reckless, and it would be probably the worst job that Mike Hazen has done as GM of this team, to not make some trades here at the deadline and to move some of these expiring contracts. But again, it's got to come together in such a way where the Diamondbacks can still somehow compete this year. And I don't want to see Anthony DeSclafani, no offense to him, in the starting rotation. I don't. If that's the case, not only is it absolutely waving the white flag on the rest of the season, which you don't need to do, but I think it also is one of those things that's really going to turn fans off from watching this team and my show, and I don't like that. I can't have that. So,
and there it is.
There it is. There's the selfish true nature behind all of this. But
I will say though, Derek, that video that we just watched from Gino, like, that's a guy who wants to stay here.
Yes.
He understands the business of this game. I do think that, like, that's the type of player, though. I know I keep talking about it and it's so pie in the sky, but, like, why not try to bring him back? He loves it here.
Yeah.
He loves this team, apparently. He loves being in Arizona.
Well,
I think that that is absolutely an avenue that I would try to pursue. But, I mean, I'm not going to speak for Mike Hazen or what he should or shouldn't do, but I just think that, you try to keep a player that's that locked in on this franchise who's coming off of such a great season.
I agree with that. Not only do you keep him, but you try to re-sign him in the offseason. You try to keep him a Diamondback for the long term. They've done that so far with several players, and it's weird because Gino kind of gets disregarded like he's old, but he's not. Isn't he 31 years old last time I checked? I could be wrong about that, but I still feel like Gino has plenty of years left, and you might not give him a 10-year contract or anything crazy. He's 34. So again, you're not going to give him anything crazy, but I'm giving Gino a 5-year deal, and I'm not sad about his declining years when he's 37 and 38. I'm fine with that because he's still going to bring the vibes to the ballpark every year, and I love that. But we're going to take a quick break. On the other side of this break, we are going to break down the numbers from this series, even though we don't want to because they're pretty gross. The Astros dominated us pitching wise, and we're going to talk about that. Don't you go anywhere. You're watching the PHNX Diamondback Show. Well, Circle K is a great way to get over a loss like this. Not only is it America's thirst stop, but they do have alcohol there. So that's also a great way to get over today's loss. But you can join the Inner Circle and you can save maybe on all of the stuff you're buying there, including your gas. And it's easy to get downloaded. You just got to download the app and get enrolled. And then you can use your phone number to score Circle K deals. But if you're hungry like I am right now, you got to check out the Meal Deal Matrix. The Circle K is trying to keep you fed and trying to keep you fed for cheap. They got their $3 meal deal, which features either a hot dog or a tornado. It's got a select side of Fritos chips and a Polar Pop up to 44 ounces for just $3. You can also get yourself for $4 a Circle K breakfast sandwich, a hash brown, and any flavor of a 16-ounce Bang, C4, or Ghost. We are Ghost runners around here, or medium coffee, or a Polar Pop up to 44 ounces, and that's all for $4. So again, get yourself fed and keep yourself fed for cheap over at Circle K. You can join the Inner Circle for free right now by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions do apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for details. And we're going to save you some more money on going to wonderful events. It doesn't matter what you want to go to, whether it's a concert, whether it's a sporting event or more. Check out Game Time because it is the place to save on last-minute ticket deals. You can save up to 60% off by buying last-minute tickets, and that is how I like to buy my tickets. I don't know what the future holds for me. Again, I just told these guys I'm 44 years old. I can't promise that I'm going to still be alive after the weekend. Eric told me to stay alive while he was gone on vacation. I can't make that promise because again, I don't know how things are going to go for me. But it's the same reason why I don't like to buy tickets ahead of time. Thanks to Game Time, I don't have to pay a ridiculous amount. In fact, most of the time I'm paying less. And they have their zone deals where you can save even more by choosing a section and letting Game Time choose the seats for you. It's a very aesthetically pleasing app. It's easy to use. They have a Game Time Picks feature, which will find you the best seat and the best deal in the house, so you don't have to search. And again, you can do this all with Game Time tickets, Game Time's ticket coverage, where your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app today, create an account, and use code PHNX for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, create an account and redeem code PHNX for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Damon, what time is it?
Game time, my brother.
It is game time. It is game time. All right. Well, let's take a look at the numbers presented by our friends at Desert Financial Credit Union because they don't look great. Diamondbacks get outscored in this series 13-7. They get out hit in home runs 3-2, which doesn't seem right. I don't know why it doesn't seem right. It just doesn't seem right. It doesn't seem like either team only hit that few of home runs. You also have runners in scoring position. The Diamondbacks outperforming the Astros with a 231 batting average with runners in scoring position to the Houston Astros 129. How did they get it done? I don't know. Ask Bryce Matthews. He'll tell you. Starting pitching ERA and relief pitching ERA, that's how they got it done. Houston Astros dominated the Diamondbacks when it came to starting ERA and relief ERA. 2 earned runs allowed in the first game, 1 earned run in Game 2 and Game 3 by starters for the Houston Astros for a 1.83 starting pitching ERA. Diamondbacks had a 4.07 ERA. Most of that is due to Zach Gallen's 6 runs allowed in the first game. Then relief pitching ERA, not any better. The Diamondbacks 4.82 for the Diamondbacks bullpen and 2.46 for the Astros. Again, the Astros allowed only the 2 earned runs today by the bullpen. Diamondbacks, meanwhile, 5 earned runs and 9 in the third inning pitch. The one thing I did really want to address, Damon, more than anything, more than all of the mistakes, more than Sean Larkin's coaching at third base, more than Gino leaving, is that the Houston Astros got 5 bunt singles in this series against the Diamondbacks. 5 bunt singles! 5 bunt singles? That's it. That's a wrap on your season, my dude. It's over. 5 bunt singles? I don't know what to tell you. I mean, again, this is an Astros team that wasn't generating much offense, so they had to do whatever they could. They have young prospects that are fast and their legs still work, so all of it made sense as to how they were trying to do their best to get on base in any way, shape, or form. But my God, the Diamondbacks cannot allow a team in a 3-game series to get five bunt singles against them. So I don't really know. I don't know what to say in regards to that other than that right there is the biggest nail in the coffin for this season. And again, once it's a reflection of how poor their defense has been, because this is not a team that you could have laid down 5 bunt singles against in 2023 or maybe even in 2024. And Michael Evans says only 5. Yeah, I know. Yeah, it seemed like it was 20. I don't know. Again, just like the home runs, it seemed like there were way more. But the Diamondbacks didn't do much to help their position in the standings. Let's take a look at the drunken orgy of violence that we call the NL West. Dodgers still stay atop of the division at 59-43, but they still can't seem to win their 60th game. Padres currently sit at 55-47. They are 4 games back in the division, and they currently hold a wild card spot. The Giants are at 54-49. They are 5.5 in the division and 1.5 back in the wild card. And now the Dbacks sit over 5 games back in the wild card. They are 50-53. They are 9.5 game back in the division, 5.5 in the wild card. And I believe these numbers could get worse. I'm not 100% sure, right? But their game is still to be played today. I don't know. I haven't looked at the schedule yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if there are. So not great. And of course, we know that this is not good for the Diamondbacks or Torey as far as the team's current standing is concerned. But we have more from Torey Lovullo on the Diamondbacks' current team standings after today's loss.
I mean, I don't feel great. I wish we had done more in the series. And I've been saying to you, you know, a team doing what we're doing isn't anything that I've ever thought we would be doing after winning, especially winning 3 games against the St. Louis Cardinals. It stinks. We put ourselves in this position. We can't do anything about it. We got to keep fighting.
he seems defeated. And I don't blame him. I don't blame him. This has been a difficult year for this team and for everybody involved. I know there's been a lot of moving parts, a lot of injuries, a lot of changes, a lot of disappointment, but it's time to start just kind of switching gears up a little bit and not I don't know. I want to see him still fight, right? It's just like I want to see him still succeed beyond the trade deadline. Put some FU energy out there in the universe and embrace that underdog role and try to do what you can with the pieces you have. That is one thing that's encouraging to me, that regardless of what happens at the trade deadline, this team has already adapted to try to do their best with the pieces they have. And I believe they will continue to do so. Maybe they become one of these teams like the Marlins that, as Piece of Yoshi pointed out, is completely destroyed the NL West. They just took 2 out of 3 from the Padres. Maybe the Diamondbacks can have a little bit of that energy with some young guys leading the way. I know a lot of people would rather see ADC and Blaze Alexander getting some playing time right now, just to try to get some, fresh energy up here. So, we'll see what happens. But again, this road trip, this 9-game road trip is all that they have left, really. And I don't even know if there's anything they can do on the 9 games to change what their fate is or what phone calls Mike Hazen is taking. But we're going to get to your super chats on the other side of this brief break. So don't you guys go anywhere. You're watching the PHNX Diamondback Show. Well, Bet365 is here to help make games like this more fun, whatever the moment. It's never ordinary at Bet365, just like the Diamondbacks season continues to never be ordinary. But you can get down on the MLB early payout offers over at Bet365. With the early payout offer, you're a winner if your team goes ahead by 5 runs with an instant payout on straight bets and parlay selections, which will be marked as winners. Download the app and use that code of PHNX365 when you sign up. Of course, you can get down on live in-game betting. Right when you do, you're going to have more fun, because you get down on live in-game betting. Things are changing constantly. You have an idea once the game is going, what you're going to bet on and how the direction things are heading. So get down on live in-game betting with Bet365. They offer the widest range of games and markets available for live in-game betting across 78 sports. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5 win or lose. All you got to do is sign up, use our code of PHNX365, deposit $10, and place a bet of $5 or more. And when your bet wins or loses, you'll receive $150 in bonus bets. Bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, players, props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or over and physically located in Arizona. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP, text NEXT STEP to 53342, or visit problemgambling.az.gov. And you know the name, but you might not remember, because it's just such a big name. You might not remember that they are the flooring experts. So if you are looking for some new flooring in your home, look to Empire today. They are the flooring experts. And of course, when you are looking for flooring experts, you want people that eat, breathe, and sleep flooring, and that's exactly what Empire Today does. They will be with you every step of the way. It's a whole new ball game with Empire Today. Their flooring experts will bring the showroom right to you. You don't have to go to a big box store and track someone down to help you out. You will have someone come to your home. You can pick the right flooring and the right colors for your space. You can see how they look in your space with your lighting, with your furniture, with your wall colors, and maybe you can also make sure that everything matches. You can get precise measurements taken and have all of your questions answered, so there are no surprises at all. And with Empire Today, you get clear, upfront, and all-inclusive pricing. Plus, you can schedule installation as soon as the next day, because nobody likes to wait. So schedule a free in-home estimate today, because some things are just better at home. PHNX listeners can receive a $350 discount when using promo code PHNX. Yes, you heard that right. A $350 discount when you use code PHNX. Restrictions do apply. Visit EmpireToday/PHNX for full details. And of course, this weekend is our big pickleball tournament. If you are a pickleball player, if you are a pickleball expert, if you are new to the game, it doesn't matter. Come on out, have a great time with us at our pickleball tournament. You can join PHNX for our 2025 Summer Pickleball Tournament at Chicken and Pickle. That is at 10 a.m. this Saturday, July 26th. It's $35 for individuals and $70 for a team. And we are so excited to once again put together our annual pickleball tournament with our friends at Chicken Pickle for diehards of all skill levels, from beginners to everyday pickleball players. Most importantly, we'll be playing on indoor courts, and we will not be sweating our butts off outside, and you'll get to experience all the fun Chicken and Pickle has to offer. Plus, part of the proceeds from the event will go to support Big Brothers, Big Sisters of Central Arizona. So it is a great cause, a great time, and we'd love to see you guys out there. Speaking of things you love to see, the Arizona Diamondbacks announced that pretty much every single one of their draft picks have signed. There were just 3 of their 20 draft picks that did not sign. They have come to terms with 17 draft picks, including their number 1 overall pick, Kason Cunningham out of Lady Bird Johnson High School in San Antonio, Texas. And you also have a number of college players, including their second overall pick, their competitive round pick, Patrick Forbes, who is a right-handed pitcher out of University of Louisville. There were only 3 players that did not sign. All 3 were late-round picks that were in high school, so it kind of makes a little sense. You have Blake Fields, an outfielder from the First Academy in Orlando, Florida, Jacob Parker out of Purvis, Mississippi, and Ethan Binningham, which is out of Corona High School in Corona, California. That was picks 14, 19, and 20. And it's understandable. A lot of times those picks will opt to go back to the school that they committed and play some more baseball and try to be drafted at a higher position potentially next year. So that could be the case here. But the Diamondbacks do have the majority of their draft picks signed, and that's a very, very great thing to see. On tomorrow's episodes, we're going to dig a little deeper into these draft picks. Of course, we're going to have our guy Jesse Friedman here to help us break it down. We're also going to preview the series with the Pittsburgh Pirates, which does not look like an easy series, and so much more. So make sure to join us tomorrow at 12 p.m. noon. I think we have some super chats, Damon, that I did not get to. What do we have in the super chat department? Piece of Yoshi said, maybe we should have given Cooper Hummel a tribute. No, because that seemed to power Christian Walker. I don't think that did anything to harm Christian Walker in any way, shape, or form. So I don't know if we wanted to give more players a tribute, but maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Dominican 268 says, getting swept at home by the Astros, a tradition like no other. I don't like this tradition. I don't want this to be an annual tradition. So can we stop getting swept by the Houston Astros? That would be great. Thank you so much for your super chat. We appreciate you. 2BMC says, do we remember what got us into the Yoffs in 23? An Astros sweep at Chase. It starts here.
Come on, baby.
I didn't think that anybody was going to be positive. I didn't think anybody could get me to run through a brick wall, but 2BMC might have just done it. I'm ready. Shane's out here shaking his head at me. No, Shane, he says it starts here. Let's go, baby. 4-home run game against the Dodgers is on deck soon. HH Rocker, thank you so much for your super chat. He says, this season is literally like stepping onto a rake like a cartoon and taking a step back over and over for 103 days. Wile E. Coyote kicked to the nards for months, needs to be put it on ice and move forward. And yeah, man, you might be right. And I think that's the reason why I made that dark analogy last night. I think that this trade deadline thing for the Diamondbacks has been something that's been hanging over our head since May, Damon? I feel like we have had this, got to figure it out before the trade deadline conversation, because of the number of guys that are on expiring contracts. We've just had that conversation for far too long. So I think a lot of us are ready for it to be over. And again, we are going to see what the Diamondbacks do over the next 10 days. This is going to be, or less than that, right? What do we got? We got 8 days until the trade deadline is over. So that's going to be something. So make sure to keep it locked here. We will have you covered not only with our show, but with any emergency podcast we need to have to cover any moves that do end up happening. But you can also follow us on Twitter in order to stay locked in with us. I am at Cap_Caveman with a K. Our guy Damon Dog, who's sick of it all and is abandoning the state altogether, is at Damon Dog with a DAWG at the end. We are all Damon's dogs. Bark, bark. Our show is at PHNX_Dbacks, but as always, all roads lead to at PHNX_sports on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you guys for being here. We will be back, like I said, tomorrow with another noon show. We will be without Damon because he tried his best.
Yeah, Derek.
Damon left it all on the field.
I got to go watch some good baseball. I got to go see the Chicago White Sox suit up. Take the field. Take
Tell
the
Sean
diamond.
Anderson I said hello. Well, we appreciate you guys so much. We love you guys. And like I said, we'll be back here tomorrow with another noon show with our guy, Jesse Friedman. So until then, we appreciate you. Make sure you guys have yourselves a wonderful evening. Behave yourselves. I think that's something that doesn't get said to you often enough, because I've seen you guys in our Discord. I've seen you guys in our chat. Oh, by the way, if you're not a diehard, we got another $36 sale going on right now. So pop on there, get on there. Let me tell you,
$35 t-shirt value as part of your $36 diehard sale.
You're just buying a shirt and then you're getting to be a diehard for a year, and you get access to our Discord lounge, which is an insane place to be an Arizona sports fan. So
it's the only place to go through group therapy like we need with the Diamondbacks season right now.
He's right.
Our Dbacks Discord is particularly active, and like I'm talking pitch to pitch type of active. Like that call was awful.
Yeah.
How could you do such a thing?
Yeah. I noticed most of them aren't even on Twitter anymore because they're all in the Discord 100%. Talking to each other. That's where they get their quality conversations about baseball.
We cry together.
Well, and also if you're coming to our pickleball tournament, you can go ahead and sign up to become a diehard, and you'll get a discount over there on that tournament. So all the reasons to sign up to become a diehard, all reasons to stick with us, and we will be here with you, rain or shine, with this team. So we thank you again for your support. We want you guys to have a wonderful evening. We will be back here at noon tomorrow. Until then, try to enjoy something other than baseball. And remember, kids, baseball is fun, but it's a lot more fun when your team doesn't get swept after sweeping another team.
We all silly like the mayor.